Welcome to the deep dive. If you're running a small manufacturing business or involved in one, well, you know the drill. It's always a balancing act, right?
Absolutely.
You're dealing with material costs going up and down, trying to hit production deadlines, and often working with pretty thin margins.
Yeah, incredibly slim sometimes.
And then, on top of all that, you get something like a trade war thrown into the mix. Suddenly, you've got tariffs popping up, supply chains getting tangled.
And payments taking forever to come through.
Exactly. It just creates this massive cash flow crunch.
It really does. And those tariffs, they're not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They directly bump up the cost of parts you might be importing. And all that uncertainty from trade tensions, it makes international customers nervous, so they start stretching out payment terms.
Right. These aren't just like abstract economic things. They hit hard day to day. Makes planning almost impossible sometimes.
Definitely impacts your ability to plan.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the problem we're digging into today. We're doing a deep dive on a tool that seems, well, pretty interesting for manufacturers trying to handle this stuff. Accounts receivable factoring. So basically factoring means you turn your unpaid invoices into cash fast. You sell the invoice to a factoring company. They give you most of the money up front, could be, what, up to 90%?
Yeah, often in that ballpark, 80, 90%.
And the key thing here, it's not a loan. You're just getting money that's already yours, just sooner.
That's the critical difference, because it's not debt. It works very differently from, say, a bank loan. It's a specific way to manage that cash flow cycle.
Okay.
So our mission today really is to get under the hood, figure out how factoring actually works, and see if it could be, a genuinely useful strategy for manufacturers dealing with these economic pressures.
Right. Let's put some numbers on this trade war impact then, because we're not just guessing here. The National Association of Manufacturers, NAM, they crunched the numbers.
Yeah, they did.
Between 2018 and 2021, just the U.S.-China tariffs cost American manufacturers over $57 billion.
$57 billion.
Yeah.
That really shows the scale of the financial hit.
It's huge. And it's not just the direct tariff cost, is it?
No, not at all. There was that SCORE survey in 2023 found that 58%, so well over half, of small manufacturers said cash flow was their biggest single challenge.
Wow.
And they linked it straight back to rising input costs and customers just taking longer to pay.
Yeah, you see it with specific materials too, like steel and aluminum tariffs. They push prices up, 10, maybe 25%. Depends where you got it from.
Exactly. And when your main materials jump like that, overnight almost, it squeezes those already tight margins even more.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the payment terms stretching out.
Yeah, that compounds it, especially B2B international orders.
Mm.
It's getting way more common to see 45, even 60-day terms.
60 days. For a small shop, having that much cash tied up for 2 months?
It's a massive bottleneck for working capital. Stops you paying your own suppliers quickly, maybe slows down investment. It just hampers everything.
Totally. It creates these working capital gaps. You've already paid for the materials, paid your people, shipped the product, and then you wait.
And wait.
That kind of delay, it can stop production cold. Or you can't take on a new order, even if it's a good one. Or worse, struggle to make payroll.
And that's really where factoring can step in. Eventually. The biggest, most obvious plus is just getting cash quickly.
Right.
Instead of waiting 60 days, maybe longer, you get a chunk of that invoice value from the factoring company, often really fast, like within 24 to 48 hours.
That quick?
Often, yeah. It injects that cash right back into your business when you need it.
Okay, think about what that means practically. You're not stuck waiting 2 months. You get a big slice of the money almost right away. So you can buy more materials, make payroll no problem, maybe even grab some opportunity that needs quick cash. It just makes you more agile.
Exactly. And importantly, you get that cash without taking on new debt. Remember, it's not a loan.
Right. That's the key difference we mentioned.
Yeah. You're unlocking value that's already on your books in your receivables, so it doesn't mess up your debt-to-equity ratio, which is, pretty important if you might need other financing down the road or just want to keep things lean.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So for manufacturers and industries where long payment terms are just normal, like electronics maybe, or big industrial gear.
Sure, yeah.
Where the big customers kind of set those long terms, factoring lets them bridge that gap, pay their own bills on time, keep production moving.
Without being held hostage by the customer's payment schedule. It gives them that operational flexibility.
Okay. And what about those rising material costs we talked about, the tariff impact?
Well, factoring can help buffer that too. Let's say your main resin cost jumps 15% because of tariffs. Having faster access to cash via factoring Means you can probably absorb that increase, buy the inventory you need without, hitting your credit limit or delaying your own customer shipments. It helps maintain continuity.
Like a financial shock absorber, almost.
Sort of, yeah.
And here's something else. I saw some factoring companies actually handle things like credit checks on your customers, and even the collections.
Yes, that can be part of the service, depending on the agreement. It's called non-recourse factoring sometimes, where they take on the credit risk.
Right. For a small team where everyone's wearing multiple hats,
Oh, definitely.
getting that admin off their plate, chasing invoices, checking credit, that frees up a ton of time, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Managing receivables, the credit checks, the awkward collection calls, it takes time and energy. If the factoring partner handles that professionally, it's a big efficiency gain. Lets the manufacturer focus on making things and selling things.
Makes sense. Okay, let's try a practical example. Make it really concrete.
Good idea.
Imagine a small plastics manufacturer, U.S.-based. They make custom parts for a bigger American electronics company.
Okay.
They just shipped a $75,000 order. Terms are 60 days. Standard stuff. But they urgently need to buy resin for the next job. And, the price just jumped 20% because of new chemical tariffs?
Right, and payroll's due next Friday.
Exactly. Classic squeeze. They've got $75K technically owed to them, but they need cash now. Waiting 2 months, not really an option.
No, production would grind to a halt.
So, okay, they decide to factor that $75,000 invoice. Let's say they get an 85% advance rate from the factor.
Pretty standard rate.
That means what? $63,750 lands in their bank account, probably within a day or two.
$63,750 liquid cash.
And with that, they can immediately buy that pricier resin, keep the next job on track, they make payroll, no sweat.
Right. And crucially, they did it without waiting 60 days and without taking out some high-interest bridge loan or something.
Yeah. They basically navigated that cash flow crunch, kept production going, kept staff happy, suppliers paid, all because they didn't have to wait out that long payment term. It just shows how it can keep things moving.
That example really hits home, I think. Shows how it's a nimble solution, especially when you're getting hit by both long payment cycles and rising costs. It's proactive financial management.
Okay, so putting it all together, when is factoring really a good fit? Who should seriously be looking at this?
Well, there are a few key things. First, it tends to work best for B2B manufacturers. You need reliable customers who pay their invoices, even if slowly.
Right. The factor needs confidence they'll get paid eventually.
Exactly. And usually there's a minimum volume, maybe like $10,000 or more in invoices per month, just to make the arrangement work economically for the factor.
Okay, so businesses with consistent sales, but just that timing lag.
Precisely. Second, it's often really helpful for companies that are growing. They've got the sales orders coming in, which is great.
Yeah, good problem to have.
But the cash flow just can't keep up with the pace needed to fund that growth. Buying more materials, maybe hiring people, investing in equipment.
Got it. So factoring provides the fuel for that growth when the payment cycle is the bottleneck.
Got it. Third, it suits manufacturers with pretty regular production and sales cycles who just have that constant recurring need for working capital to keep things humming along. It offers predictable cash flow.
Okay.
And finally, as we've been saying all along, businesses really feeling the pinch from international trade issues, long overseas payment delays, tariff cost increases, they're prime candidates. Factoring can be a really strategic tool for them.
So it's not like a magic bullet for everyone, but for certain manufacturers facing these specific kinds of pressures, especially now, it could be a smart move.
That's the key takeaway, I think.
Yeah.
You have to look at your specific situation, weigh the benefits of getting cash fast and maybe offloading some admin against the fees of the factor charges. Is that trade-off worth it for your business?
Well, as we wrap this up, it seems pretty clear these trade war uncertainties, general economic shifts, they're probably not going away anytime soon, are they?
Doesn't look like it, no.
So for small manufacturers, keeping that cash flow strong, being able to pivot quickly, that's not just about surviving anymore, is it? It's becoming a real competitive edge.
Absolutely. Consistent working capital lets you navigate those changes confidently. Maybe you can even negotiate better deals with your suppliers because you can pay quickly. You can jump on opportunities others can't because they're cash strapped.
So whether you need the cash to find alternative suppliers because of tariffs or maybe expand to meet new demand or just, keep the lights on and payroll met without constant stress. Accounts receivable factoring looks like a pretty viable tool to provide that essential capital through these choppy economic waters.
Yeah, it's a proactive way to manage finances, turning potential challenges into maybe opportunities for stability and growth.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave everyone with, thinking about everything we've discussed today. Where, specifically, in your own operations, could getting faster access to your cash make a real difference? How could it help you navigate these headwinds, or maybe even let you grab onto some growth opportunities that feel just out of reach right now? Definitely something worth mulling over.